Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Weekdays at Bernie segment tonight. As we told you last night, according to a Gallup poll on social issues, Americans are tied. 31% saying they are conservative, 31% describing themselves as liberal. Joining us now from Miami to react, a purveyor, BernardGoldberg.com, Mr. Goldberg. So you read my talking points from last night. It's posted on BillO'Reilly.com. What do you think is driving the move to the left?
Well, first, I think that you were right when you said that the culture influences the American people. I have no problem with that part of your analysis. And are the high priests, the media elite of the entertainment industry, overwhelmingly liberal? Yes. But that's not the entire reason, or maybe even the biggest reason. I think in a liberal country, let me rephrase that, in a democracy like the United States, not in ISIS territory, or not in the dictatorships of Africa, but in a democracy like the United States, the natural movement, the natural direction of history is to be more socially, to use the words of the poll, more socially liberal, or to put another way, more tolerant. It wasn't that long ago in this country, it was in our lifetime, Bill, where this country, Americans, were very intolerant of all sorts of groups, not just black people, all sorts of groups and people. Now, I'm looking at the poll from Gallup. It says a vast majority of Americans are morally accepting gay relations, okay? A vast majority. A vast majority accept sex before marriage between an unmarried man and an unmarried woman, and they're heterosexual. I don't even know what the issue is on that. So I think that's a big factor, but I think this poll represents trouble for the Republican Party, because only 5%, Bill, identify themselves as very conservative on social issues.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out, how is it a good business model for all these Republican candidates to try to portray themselves as the most conservative candidate in the bunch?
That's a primary
when
play
only 5% consider themselves very conservative.
That's an Iowa play. But look, the reason that you're seeing more acceptability of certain behavior is the decline of religion. It goes hand in hand. I mean, religion.
I agree.
And look, my parents' generation and their parents, they were much more religious, and they were much more accepting of the doctrines of this is what you do, this is what you don't do. That's gone. It's gone in most precincts now. And so you're seeing corresponding acceptance of other people's behavior. But what really drives this... Go ahead.
But Bill, you're right that we're less religious today, but we're also less bigoted today.
Okay, but it doesn't tie into that.
I'm not laying the bigotry on the religion, but I'm saying when we were more religious,
I totally reject
black
that.
People.
I totally reject that.
Well,
It was a sin to do certain things.
Let me give you a couple of quick examples. Let me give you two quick examples.
All right.
Three, very quick. We were more religious in the 1950s than we are today. I agree. And in the 1950s, we treated black people as second-class citizens. Jews were looked upon as dirt, and gays were beaten on a regular basis. So where did the religion influence the goodness in those areas?
You're basically pointing to extreme behavior in those regards, and that behavior
I don't think so.
was passed from bigot to bigot to bigot. All right. What has happened now in this country is that we're a secular country. You would agree with that, right? Secular country.
Yeah.
Catholic Church lost all authority in the priest pedophilia scandals. All authority disappeared in this period of 3 or 4 years. Gone, vanished. All right. Protestant evangelicals still hold firm. But most mainstream Protestant sects, like the Methodists and the Presbyterians and the Lutherans, they don't have judgmental accounts in their services, and very few people go to their services. So there's no central force here saying this is right and this is wrong. A lot of people say that's good. A lot of people say it's good. But what's happening is that the secularism that we're seeing is driving a society that you just saw with Waters World, where anything is acceptable. Anything. That's going to come back. That's going to come back to bite us. Last word.
So my example is the extreme, but the dopes in Waters World are somehow typical. I'm not buying that.
Well, we gave the stat at the top of the program on how many millions of Americans are now dependent on their government. And that is a unique situation in American history, Bernie.
Here's where I agree with you. As we became more tolerant over the years, which is a good thing, we became indiscriminately tolerant. We became tolerant of people walking down the street dropping F-bombs. We became tolerant of all sorts of things.
And I agree with that.
But on this Gallup list, the only thing I have a problem with, we become more tolerant of people having children out of wedlock.
And that's been a disaster.
That's a very bad thing.
All right.